I just realized something. Like, I'm so emotionally detached from everybody. But, like, literally, like, you can do something to me. I could love you, but I can deadass, like, leave you alone with no remorse. Like, won't think twice about the shit. Like, and that's real. And that shit sucks because it's like I don't need people, but I need somebody. Like, I want to need somebody. I want to be like, I can't live without a person. But really, the way my emotions is set up, I be ready for niggas to go.
In my meditation this morning, I was pondering on the difference between healthy and unhealthy emotional detachment. I have blessings upon blessings coming into my life right now. I'm about to start some very amazing new adventures. I have new people coming into my life. I'm stepping into a whole new fucking chapter, and I'm very excited. But I've had starts like this before, where old shit came with me even though I didn't realize it, and it turned into something that sabotaged my new starts. I have a lot of emotional detachment that needs to be done from situations, events, past mistakes, people right now. And I realize something that really scares me about trying to work through the process to detach emotionally is that I first have to sit in those emotions. And they can be quite obsessive, to be honest. They're just over and over in the thoughts, and I'm trying to distract myself or redirect. And it's really uncomfortable. And I realized part of the reason why I hate sitting in uncomfortable emotions is because I don't have a timeline. Not knowing when it's going to end makes me want to escape from the jump, which kind of explains substance abuse issues when you think about it. So yeah, if you have any tips on emotionally detaching in a healthy way, let a bitch know.
Hey everyone, it's Bree. Welcome back to my channel, back in another video. And I am here with another personal sit-down chat video that people may or may not watch, but this is my outlet. This is how I vent. So, I am here to talk about something that I have learned about myself recently, is that I went from being a very attached person to a very detached person. And what I mean by that is that historically growing up, I've always had issues with being very attached to people. Everybody that I would get close to or everybody that I was friends with, I would always expect that person to be in my life forever. And that's how I would always treat that person and treat the friendship, right? And so although that can be a good thing in some scenarios, it also caused me to be used a lot, and it caused me to allow people to treat me in a way that I did not deserve. And especially when I was like in elementary school and middle school and even high school, a lot of the friends that I had during those times, I was very attached to them. And I think the reason why I was so attached to them is because I already had a hard time making friends and keeping friends as it is. And I don't know, I think I always had this like vision in my mind of like, you know, the type of friendships that I wanted. And, you know, I just really wanted like those like super close knit friendships. And so whenever anybody would want to be my friend, like I would want to talk to them all the time. I would want to hang out all the time. And I had a really hard time with the concept of letting people go because I'm just someone that's extremely loyal. And like I said, if I am friends with someone, like I'm usually expecting them to, you know, be around for a long time. And so if there was any moment where someone was upset with me or it seemed like someone was becoming distant from me, I would always try to fix it, right? And there were even times too where, looking back, I didn't know this in the moment, but in certain friendships of mine, there were times where I was being mistreated and I would express the fact that I was being mistreated. And instead of them taking accountability and understanding where I would come from, they would instead get mad and they would turn it back on me, right? Like, oh, well, I'm treating you poorly because you're annoying, or whatever the case may be. And sometimes that literally was what I was told. It's like, oh, well, we treat you bad because you're just really annoying. And so because I was extremely insecure and I was extremely attached, I felt the need to fix it. And so I'm like, okay, I'll just be less annoying. Or sometimes I would somehow end up apologizing to them, even though the conversation started off that they had did something wrong to me. I would somehow end up apologizing to them just for the sake of trying to salvage the friendship, because I just didn't want the friendship to end. And a lot of times too, like, I would become so invested in these friendships and I would put my friends on such a high pedestal that when those friendships started to die down and end, I felt like my whole entire world was crashing. Like, the first time I experienced severe depression was literally because I was losing friendships that I had for like years at that point. Like, I literally couldn't handle it. I'm like, oh my God, like, I gotta start over. Like, what? Like, I literally could not handle the thought of losing these people, because I'm just like, they've been such a big part of my life. And I think that's the other thing too, right? I treat a lot of my friends like their family. And again, with me being such a loyal person and me being so invested in these friendships, right? Like, I just would put a lot of effort and a lot of energy into them in attempts to keep that person around and keep the friendship going. But looking back, what I've realized is that a lot of that energy I was putting towards the friendships wasn't reciprocated. They were not putting that same level of energy with trying to keep me around, you know? And it was like, it was this constant like chase almost, where it's like, okay, if I do all these things, then they'll stay. But then, like, they weren't really doing that for me in return. I often use the birthday example, right? And that's why birthdays are always a very touchy subject for me, because growing up, I always put forth effort into other people's birthdays, and it was very rare that I would get that same level of energy in return. There were literally so many people that I had bought birthday gifts for, or that I would sit there and write a full length paragraph about how much they meant to me and how much our friendship meant to me, and I would send it to them at midnight on their birthday. Meanwhile, when my birthday rolled around, some people didn't even say happy birthday to me. Some people didn't bother to acknowledge me at all, didn't bother to post me on my birthday. Like, you know how, like, when someone's birthday comes up and, you know, you post them on your Instagram story? That didn't start happening to me until like maybe the past like 2 years. Like, literally, like, people would never post me on my birthday. They would never make me feel special. And I know money is a tricky thing, especially with like gifts, so I'm not someone that requires gifts. But also, if I see you getting gifts for everybody else and then my birthday rolls around and now all of a sudden you don't have the money, I don't know. To me, that's just never sat right with me, when my birthday is constantly being put at the bottom of the barrel. And I feel like it still is kind of like that. Not to say people don't care about my birthday at all, but it is very low priority to people, which is why I stand on the fact that I don't really have like a best friend or anyone that I'm super close to, because I feel like if I did, they would prioritize my birthday, and I feel like no one really does that. It's usually me having to like push and, like, you know, not force people to, you know, spend time with me on my birthday, but it's usually like pulling teeth trying to, like, you know, get that together. But with that being said, right, like, there were so many instances where I went above and beyond to make people feel special on their birthday or other holidays. And I would also go above and beyond to, you know, to always fix any issue that we had, even if it wasn't on me to fix and I didn't cause whatever issue was that we had. I would still feel the need to fix it. And it's like, I literally exhausted myself trying to keep these friendships going, even when it came to like communicating and making plans. Like, in a lot of my previous friendships, again, like more so high school, I had to initiate everything. I had to initiate every conversation, every single outing. And a lot of the times when I would try to initiate outings, people would duck and dodge me, and they would, you know, find a way to cancel or come up with an excuse as to why they couldn't hang out with me. Even within school, I was left at the lunch table a lot by myself. Like, people were just like, looking back, I'm like, I had some really, really crappy friends, but I didn't know. And so, because I am someone that really desires close bonds with people, I feel like that desire made me become super attached to anybody that I could even see having that potential friendship with. And I think it really took a toll on me a lot. And even as I'm sitting here and I'm reflecting back on some of those friendships, I can honestly say that, like, for the most part, every single friend that I've ever had in my life didn't last more than a year or two. And that's not something that I talk about often, because people, you know, when you talk about losing a lot of friends and losing a lot of people, you'll have those people that are like, oh, well, clearly you're the common denominator. But I truly don't believe in my heart that I was ever a bad friend or a bad person. And even some of those people will tell you that themselves, that I was never like a bad friend or anything. I think it really was just that, like, for some reason people just could not click with me, because I just was usually very different from other people, into different things, listening to different types of music, whatever the case may be. And what I've noticed, especially as an adult, is that people tend to only gravitate towards those that are like them. I haven't really been like that, and like I said, maybe it's because I am someone that's always been different from the others, but I'm very open to, you know, different people of different backgrounds and different interests. Like, none of my friends are the exact same. Like, all of my friends are like into different things or whatever. And it's very rare that I even meet people that are into the same exact things that I am into. But for some reason, it's like people just don't see me as someone that they can be close with, especially long term, just because of conflicting interests, which honestly kind of sucks that that's been the case. Like, because, you know, I talked about before about how, like, me not drinking alcohol has been like a huge factor in my ability to make friends. A lot of times, if you don't run in the same social circles as someone, or if you don't partake in certain activities, people just like, it's not that they won't mess with you at all, but they'll only view you as an associate or an acquaintance because you don't do the same things that they do. And that has proven to be one of my major, like, barriers to making friends, because people just assume that, like, I don't know, it's weird and it's complicated. But even besides friendships, right, like, even with relationships, like, in my previous relationship, I was scarily attached to that person. Like, I was scarily attached, and it was kind of that same thing where it's like, again, like, I went into that relationship saying, like, okay, this has to work, this is gonna last forever, like, and it not only made me put forth way more energy into the relationship than I probably needed to, but it also made me allow certain behaviors and allowed me to be mistreated, because in my mind I'm like, okay, well, I have to make this work no matter what. I definitely believe that led to an unhealthy dynamic. But I think, again, in that situation, and even in friendships, I always just had this idea that if I sat there and I put up with someone's crap, and if I was very forgiving, and if I did everything that person wanted me to do and put forth all this energy and constantly make them feel special and valued, I thought that if I did all of that, that would for sure keep these people around. And what I learned the hard way is that it didn't. Because even out of me coming out of my previous relationship, where there literally was not anything that I wouldn't have done for this person. I literally did everything that I knew how for that person. I constantly made that person's happiness a priority, even over mine at times, which I'm not saying is healthy, and I'm not saying that I should have done that. But you would think that with me doing everything and constantly spoiling this person, making them feel special, whether it's on their birthday, whether it's Valentine's Day, whether it's Christmas, just constantly having that goal of like, okay, I just want to make this person happy and constantly be there for them, and the level of loyalty that I had, like, I literally never ever, like, even like outside of like cheating, like, yes, I never cheated, but also just the fact that I like never abandoned them, like they could always depend on me even when things ended. You would think that being everything for a person would keep them from leaving, but it didn't. That person still ended up deciding that they did not want to be with me and that they wanted to pursue something with someone else. And when that happened, that's when my whole entire reality shifted, and that's when my whole entire thought process changed. And that's the moment that I realized that, like, okay, clearly I'm doing something wrong here, because I'm sitting up here showing up as my best self for everybody in my life. Meanwhile, most of these people aren't doing the same for me in return. And then in the end of it, all these people ended up cutting me off. Even though I did everything and was everything for all of these people in my life, even though I put my happiness to the side side and showed up for them in every way, shape, or form, was always there, always dependable, just. And again, I'm not saying I'm perfect. Please don't think I'm saying that I'm perfect, because I'm not. I've had my faults as well. But for the most part, like, I've always done my part in both friendships and relationships to always be there, always make that person happy. But then by the end of it, I just end up getting left. And so I'm just like, okay, well, what's the point then? I started to kind of like reconfigure my mind to be like, okay, clearly I'm not doing something right, and now I need to make some changes, because I'm leaving all of these friendships and relationships feeling exhausted and mentally drained and depressed, because I have given all I've had to these people, and then they end up just hurting me and leaving me, and now I have like nothing left from myself, because I've given it all away to all these people. All of my love, all of my energy that I should have been putting into myself, I gave it all away, and people kind of just took it and left with it, right? And so now I'm kind of in this new phase in my life where I'm prioritizing myself way more. I'm doing what makes me happy, and I'm now going into new friendships, and in me trying to sort of date, not really, but kind of or in me just like talking to guys now, I'm now going into it with a completely different mindset, where instead of going into it thinking, okay, I have to make this last forever, or, oh, this person, you know, is gonna stick around and this is never gonna end, it's now the complete opposite, where I am expecting it to end. Like, now when I befriend people, I'm like, okay, this is cool for right now, we'll see if this friendship lasts. Let me not get too attached too quickly, let me not be so fast to, you know, put my all into it. Let me, and that's the one thing too, it's like I've been pulling myself back a lot from being as open as I normally am, for being as giving as I normally am. I've really been reserving a lot of that, and you know, of course, putting that back into me, but just in general, like, I've just been very, very, very cautious, like, because I now have to go into friendships being like, okay, I don't know if this person is gonna wake up one day and decide they don't want to be friends with me, or they decide that they don't want to answer my text no more, or answer my phone calls no more, like. And so I have to be very cautious to not give so much of myself to these friendships, because they could literally end tomorrow, and I don't want to be sitting here devastated because this person decided that I was no longer for them. And that has also affected my dynamic with dating and talking to men now. When I talk to men now, like, and it's crazy because, you know, with my last relationship, it was my first relationship, so I didn't have all that like relationship hurt and trauma that a lot of people are walking around with now, and that I now have, right? And so I didn't have that going into it, so I was very like open and vulnerable and optimistic. All of that is down the drain now. Like, now when I talk to men, I'm like, okay, let me see what kind of time he on, let me see if he's like legit. Like I can't even allow myself to get excited or get like, you know how like you used to get like butterflies or get giddy if a guy that you really liked or that you were really attracted to started talking to you and started showing interest in you, like that excitable feeling that you get like when you meet someone new that you really like. I don't have that anymore, like, at all. Like, even the few times that I've talked to guys that, you know, were like attractive to me or whatever, like, I feel nothing. Like, I literally feel nothing. Like, I just feel like I'm now in this like assessment mode where I'm just like, okay, I need to assess you. I need to see like if you are who you say you are, if what you're presenting yourself to be is really how it is. I need to see if you're actually going to stick around, or if you're just, you know, trying to play with my time. I need to see if you are a genuine person. Like, now I'm in this space where I don't even view dating as something to be fun or something to get excited about. I don't get excited anymore to like talk to, like, it's just, I don't know. I mean, I do kind of sort of get excited when I'm making friends, but still, like, it's like I have like this mental block where I no longer feel super optimistic about the friendships and relationships that I'm making. Now it's like, okay, I'm gonna look at this as temporary. I'm gonna look at this as like, okay, this is good for right now. You know, we'll see where this goes. Like now I'm more so looking at friendships and relationships like, okay, what can that sounds kind of bad. I was gonna say like, what can I get from it? But that's not what I mean, because then that sounds like I'm using people, and I'm not trying to use people. Like I don't befriend people just for the sole purpose of getting something out of it. A lot of my friendships are just built off of like chemistry and like, do we vibe well, right? And so it's not so much that, but just making sure that like I'm prepared in case people decide to switch up on me. Like that is how I have been navigating talking to people and getting to know new people now. It's like I'm getting to know them but from a distance, and I'm making sure to stop myself from doing too much. Because like I said, the old me, once me and you start getting acquainted and we really become like super friendly, I'm buying you birthday gifts, Christmas gifts. I'm wanting to hang out all the time. Like that's usually me. Like I'm usually very like excited to like, you know, do stuff and be involved with people. But now I'm like taking things real slow. Like even like with initiating conversations. Again, I used to be someone that had to initiate conversation with everybody in my life. If I wanted to talk to somebody, I had to initiate conversation because no one was going to start a conversation with me. No one was going to check up on me. Even now, like, I mean, I have a few people that'll like send stuff here and there, but I don't have like a whole lot of people like checking on me or talking to me just to talk. And that's kind of what I wish I had more of. I wish I had more friends that just would randomly text me or randomly call. Not actually, no. I don't want people randomly calling me. You can text me out the blue and say, "Hey, do you want to hop on a FaceTime?" I might do that, but I don't like people randomly calling me. So I take that back. But I say that to say, like, I just kind of wish I had more of that, and I don't right now. And I don't know, I'm just exhausted. I think I'm just, the past, like, 2 decades of my life have just exhausted me with how much I've been, like, almost low-key forcing friendships and relationships from people. And it's just, like, now I'm at a place where I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna reciprocate energy. However much energy someone puts into a friendship or relationship with me, I'm going to give that exact amount back, right? And you know, I'm just being very careful about not doing too much, because also too, I feel like whenever I've done that in the past, it's like thrown people off or it's turned people off from me. Like the fact that I am such a involved friend, I feel like that made people not like me more. And so yeah, like now I'm kind of just like taking a step back, because I'm not gonna lie, there's been times where I've thought to text certain people out the blue to see how they're doing, but then I think to myself, like, okay, I haven't spoken to you in like God knows how long, and the last few times we've spoken, it was me initiating conversation with you, and I'm like, none of these people have made attempts to talk to me, so I was like, why should I attempt to talk to them? I'm in this weird phase of my life where I want to be open to, you know, accepting new people into my life, and I am, and I have met quite a few people in these past couple of months, and I feel like friendships are building, but I just don't want to have that expectation. I just don't want to go into it expecting, again, like these friendships to build and to last. Because there's also been quite a few people as well that I've met, and it looked like we were going to start being friends, and then I haven't heard from them since. Literally. I have had people literally reach out to me, like on social media, saying, "Hey, let's be friends." And I'm like, okay, cool. And then we'll start talking for like 2 days. And then the conversation ends. And so I don't know. I think right now I'm just being very, very careful and cautious with my heart, because people have not been very gentle with it. People have not been gentle with my heart or my emotions. And something that I've learned, especially this year, is that people are definitely going to always put themselves first, even if it means that you get hurt in the process. And so I'm like, you know what? Maybe I need to start doing that. Not in a way to hurt other people, but I'm in a space where I'm like, okay, I have to start putting myself first and prioritizing me more than I do other people, because that's how other people are moving. No one is going out of their way for me. No one is gonna put what they got going on to the side for me. Literally no one is doing that. And so why should I be doing that? Why should I, you know, put my stuff on hold or not prioritize myself and my happiness for other people when other people aren't doing that for me? And so yeah, I don't know. I don't know if that's the right way to approach things, where I'm just like, again, going into every single friendship and every single potential relationship where I'm just like very detached, like my emotions are kind of put on pause and I'm just trying to assess and see what that person is about. I don't know if that is causing harm, because I'm also not being as open as I normally am. And is that hindering the friendship from growing? I don't know. But I know, what I do know is that I'm tired of getting hurt. I'm tired of getting played. I'm tired of getting used. And I'm tired of people thinking they can just come in and out of my life when they feel like it. And so I just feel like I'm at a point where I have to protect myself and my mental space and my peace. And if that means that I have to side eye people and, you know, be kind of distant with folks for a while, then I think that's just what I have to do for right now. Because yeah, I don't know, because it also dawned on me too that, like, I don't think I've ever been in a relationship or a friendship where the other person was doing more than what I was doing. It's usually a very like 90-10, 80-20 scenario where I'm doing the most in that friendship or that relationship to keep it going, and then that other person is just like, well, you know, like they just don't, or they make excuses as to why they can't show up for me in that way. And so it's like, well, if you're not going to show up as your best self for me, then why should I do that for you? And it really has been like a, you know, I don't want to say it's been like an automatic thing, even though it kind of has been, but there has been times where I've thought about doing stuff for people, or I've thought about doing certain things, but then I had to catch myself and be like, okay, would they do this for you? Would they show up for you in this way? And usually the answer is no. So right now I'm just chilling and seeing where life takes me, and hopefully I get to a point where I can make friends and maybe find somebody that, you know, will show up in the way that I normally would, because that's ultimately what I want. I want friendships and I want a relationship with people that will show up for me and that will go above and beyond for me, that will, you know, make me feel special on, you know, birthdays or certain occasions, or, you know, someone that I can really truly rely on and depend on and trust, and that I feel is just as much invested in that friendship or in that relationship just as much as I am, because I just haven't really experienced that. And so that's why I'm kind of just taking a step back and just dealing with people at a surface level and not really going into it too deep, because the last thing I want is to keep attaching myself to temporary people who don't value me in that way. And so yeah, I think that's all I have to say on this topic. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below if you guys have dealt with this before, whether you've dealt with attachment issues or you've dealt with detachment issues. Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. And if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys go ahead and give it a big thumbs up, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video.